everyone. This is the last word and I'm Maria Shakil. Has the Congress party sounded the peace bugle with Shashi Tharoor after he crossed the line of control in the Congress party, that is the LOC? Well, certainly there are indications to this because remember, till a few hours back, gloves were off between the Congress and Shashi Tharoor. But now there seems to be all indications that there is a climb down within the Congress from its earlier position of a potential action. Before I get all the details from Ankit, who's standing across for that, let's listen in to what played out earlier today.
श्रीमान शशि थरूर कहते हैं कि मोदी जी के पहले कोई लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल या इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर पाकिस्तान का पार ही नहीं किया। इतना बड़ा झूठ और इतना बड़ा षड्यंत्र कांग्रेस के इतिहास मिटाने का जवाब तो देना ही पड़ेगा। उनको अपना काम करना चाहिए कि वहां जाकर के कांग्रेस की बुराई कर रहे हैं।
Ankit Tyagi joins us. So Ankit, what are you hearing from your Congress sources?
Well, top sources in the Congress party are saying, Maria, that there is not going to be any action against Shashi Tharoor. And apart from that, what we are seeing is that the Congress leadership sees this as an unnecessary escalation, which at this moment doesn't look well on the Congress party. Even if the BJP, by putting Shashi Tharoor without the consultation, without consulting the Congress party, even if there was a political mischief, the Congress doesn't want to walk into that. They also believe that the post that Mr. Tharoor has put out on X is clarification enough, and that at this moment seems to be the end of the matter for the Congress top leadership. Despite certain leaders, like one of them, we heard Mr. Udit Raj escalating the matter. There are also other political considerations behind this. Remember, next year is the Kerala election, Thiruvananthapuram, where the Congress, MP Shashi Tharoor is the elected member from. The Congress doesn't want to give any leeway either to the left or the BJP in any sense as far as the important election of Kerala is also concerned. And at this moment, when everybody is talking about Operation Sindoor, they don't want to be seen as people, or at least where there is infighting on that issue as well within the Congress party.
And Ankit, he has been elected from Thiruvananthapuram 4 times consecutively. 2009, 2014, 2019 and 2024, despite the Modi wave. So certainly there is lots more to this saga that we are seeing play out. Ankit Tyagi, really appreciate your time. And let me bring in BJP leader from Kerala and former Union Minister KJ Alphonse, who joins me live. KJ Alphonse, of course, the BJP was hoping that in this saga between the Congress and Dr. Tharoor, there would be several more twists and turns and several more chapters, but it appears that there is a climb down within the Congress party.
Maria, I think the Congress has shot itself on its foot, but that's what they have been doing all their lives, all their history. So I don't think this entire debate today, conversation today, is going to do any good for the Congress party. See, this was a time when everybody needs to stand together. And yes, they did stand together, and the Honorable Prime Minister had thanked all the parties for standing together. And if you look at the delegation now, which is going around the world, it includes every party. Everybody is there. I mean, from Shashi Tharoor, from D.G.S. Karimori, we have OYC, we have everybody, and they're all speaking in one language saying what India did was right. Don't mess up with India. We are capable of striking. And, the Honorable Prime Minister had given that decisive strike, the decisive response, which the whole world needs to know, everybody needs to know. And this is not the time to, cobble over minor things. I don't understand what the problem in the Congress party is. Now, of course, by evening they have folded up because they know that they've shot themselves, on the fort. And obviously, this is not going to go down well with the citizens of India, because everybody today is one with the Prime Minister, one with the nation in saying, yes, the Prime Minister and the government did exactly what was expected. We've sent out a message, and yes. Shashi Tharoor, I think he's done a wonderful job. So has all the members of all the other delegations which have gone abroad, Karimori to OYC. I think they're all doing a fantastic job for India.
Yes, but he has been one of the fiercest defenders of Operation Sindoor. In fact, backers, I would say. He has been vociferously talking about what India has done. Strategically, how Operation Sindoor has been a huge success. But Mr. Alphonse, I'm sure because one leader after another, one spokesperson of the party, of the BJP after another, all of you were backing Dr. Tharoor. So certainly there were several, things playing out behind the curtains, should we say, in the run-up to Kerala elections?
Maria, this is nothing to do with Kerala election. It's got nothing to do with party politics. This is about the nation standing up. And, Congress was accusing him of being a spokesperson for the BJP. In fact, he's a spokesperson for India, for the nation. And I think that's a crucial role. See, according to me, I've been in the civil service, then I quit and joined politics. For me, politics is not about having enemies. I mean, you have rivals, but when the nation needs to stand together, we stand together in moments like this. This is when you test your fiber and see which political party has a fiber, who's got the right kind of an attitude towards the nation, protecting the integrity of the nation. Here was a nation where every citizen was with the Prime Minister and the government saying, wow, this was fantastic job done by the government. And I think Shashi Tharoor, as a true patriot and a reasonable man, a sensible person, a voice of sanity, as exactly whatever he said has been a voice of sanity, which I think every other delegation.
This voice of sanity, who has perhaps in the most structured fashion defended Operation Sindoor, certainly helped build the government narrative. And in all the multi-party all these delegations which have traveled, this delegation is something which is being watched out for, particularly because they are in US, in Panama. That's what Dr. Tharoor's delegation is where. So do you think when he defends, should it be seen not from the prism of politics, like many are saying, analysts are of the opinion that this is about nation first, or within the BJP also, why is the entire party so celebratory that somebody like a Dr. Shashi Tharoor or say a Salman Khurshid or even Mr. P. Chidambaram are of the opinion that Operation Sindoor was the right move?
See, it's very clear. Shashi Tharoor is able to articulate exactly the sentiment of the nation. And so have some other teams like Mr. Owaisi, Kanimuri. They've all been articulating. Of course, Shashi Tharoor happens to have has the ability with words. He's a very charming person. So, you see, he's able to reach across to a very large segment of people conveying the right message. This is exactly the message which the government, India, wants to send across. You see, it's not a message from a particular person. Shashi Tharoor is a voice of India, not a particular party, not of a particular segment of people. And he's been very vocal in saying, this is a fantastic thing which India has done. This we are proud of what India has done. We proved that we will not allow anybody to mess up with our country. The Honorable Prime Minister has struck deep into Pakistan, in the enemy territory. And this is something about which I think the entire nation is absolutely happy about. Now, what is the problem in Shashi Tharoor going around and saying, wait, this is what India thinks, this is what we have done, and we want the world to see that we need to fight terrorism together? I think the entire message of these missions are to say that there will be absolutely no compromise on terrorism. And Shashi Tharoor puts it across very, very well. What is the problem of the Congress party? I don't understand.
All right, KJ Alphonse, really appreciate your time. Let me bring in Udit Raj, former MP of the Congress party. He is the one who has been taking on Dr. Shashi Tharoor almost every day. Dr. Udit Raj, it's been a tweet a day from you against Dr. Shashi Tharoor. He has also responded today. One may say that this could have been sorted out privately rather than you making it a public affair. What's wrong in Dr. Shashi Tharoor saying that this is essentially about reprisal for terrorist act and not about previous wars, the manner in which you are interpreting?
What happens is very, very clear that he had denigrated Congress history and said that before Mr. Modi, Indian Army had never crossed line of control international border. that is absolutely wrong. In a way that how can you erase the history of the Congress? That is the point where I am talking to him. And I'm saying that he should retract his statement or he should regret it. He has gone to other countries to expose Pakistan, but not to denigrate Congress, not to erase the history of the Congress. And what the point to mention about it that never before. You know that 6 times Manmohan Singh government had unleashed the surgical strike, but it was not encased politically, and the entire credit was given to army and rested with the army. And that credit should go to countrymen and should go to the army only, not to any party. And Congress party did not politicize it. So what happened that one second that though he is a Congress MP, but not picked up by Congress, but picked up by Mr. Modi.
Okay.
If he has a love for Mr. Modi, fine. We don't have any problem. He can have love. But
why should it be seen as love
just
for
for
Mr.
loving
Modi?
Modi ji, you demand the Congress, you distort the facts. That is not a that
But
can't be
Dr.
allowed.
Udit Raj, why are you saying that he is denigrating the Congress? Because if you look at what Dr. Shashi Tharoor said on X earlier today, that his remarks were preceded by the reference to the several attacks that have taken place in recent years, during which previous Indian responses, which was of course of the UPA, were both restraint and constraint, and that there was some kind of respect of the of the LOC and the international border, which was not done this time around.
What is this? This is very confusing and he's trying to make fool of others. We understand English. And what he said, that never before anything was done, that border was crossed, LOC was crossed. And what does it mean? So intellectual dishonesty is more dangerous than economic dishonesty. They should admit it. What does it mean? Constant and all, these are jargons, terminology and jargons to use it. And of course, a few people get mesmerized by European accent of English. Where is the content? And you playing with the words and jargons.
No.
Come to the fact, you said like this. You said, I regret it. You say that I retract what I said it.
No, but the question is, why should he regret
and
and
he should be
retract?
courageous enough to accept that what he said, and he courageous enough to better his state.
But Dr. Udit Raj, one view may be, who is the real Congress here? What is the Congress party's view? If you have senior leaders like Dr. Shashi Tharoor, former External Affairs Minister, Salman Khurshid, all of them who have spoken to me on this channel, they have lauded Operation Sindoor, said that it was a huge strategic success for the government, for Prime Minister Modi. It was a bold move. Then why should views of others within the Congress be seen? They are the real Congress. They are the veteran leaders of the Congress.
I salute army. Who is not giving the credit to the army? We have full respect. They don't have respect. Today only, MLA of BJP said that what the Air Force officers were doing, were they sleeping at the time of Operation Sindoor? So we have highest respect, not they. Total support. Out surgical strike or Operation Sindoor. That we object, and we must object. Credit goes to the countrymen. Credit goes to the all party. Credit goes to the army, not BJP.
All right, Dr. Udit Raj, thank you so much. Of course, we haven't seen the last in this saga which is playing out. Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, joins me. Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP. We have Nikhil Jain, a political analyst who actually supports the Congress party. Tuhin Sinha, the point being made by Udit Raj is that here is Dr. Shashi Tharoor denigrating the Congress. And if you look at series of tweets which have been put out by Pawan Khera, particularly because he is in charge of the media department, he says that previously in Dr. Manmohan Singh's government, the LOC was crossed, surgical strikes did happen when it was about sending a message to Pakistan.
Well, good evening, Maria. Good evening, everybody. The Congress needs to grow out of its habit of bullying those leaders who stand up for national interests. This is a very perverse habit which the Congress party has developed in the last few years. Now, I will only refer to two situations which have caused a lot of anguish apparently in the Congress party. One is, of course, of Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Now, Dr. Shashi Tharoor has himself clarified through his tweet that he was referring to the acts of retribution post-terror attacks in the last few years. Besides an RTI query which was answered in August 2017, very categorically states that there was no prior surgical strike post that. Now, if the Congress has a different opinion, the Congress should wait and, for Shashi Tharoor to come back and have a conversation with him. To constantly, dispute what he's saying abroad is embarrassing the country. And the Congress party needs to realize that. I will give you one more example. Manish Tiwari very categorically said 2 days ago that the DGMO of Pakistan had called up the DGMO of India, and that is how the ceasefire happened. There was no role of a third party. Now the Congress, time and again has contradicted this and even contradicted it after Manish Tiwari's very categorical stand abroad. Now why is the Congress party doing this? I think there is very clearly two different groups of Congress parties. One, the old timers who still believe that safeguarding national interests is sacrosanct, and the other is Rahul Gandhi's Congress, which has a very strong urban Naxal influence, which does not care for national interests. But I think the Congress needs to introspect. This is not the time for mudslinging. This is not the time for bullying your own leaders. And I think they need to understand this.
Yes, Neerja Chaudhary, isn't it ironical that the party is actually dismissing the views of leaders who are very core, central to the party? I mean, these are the dyed-in-the-wool Congress leaders.
Yeah, these are very senior leaders of the party, very savvy leaders of the party who understand global affairs. And in the case of Shashi Tharoor and the others also, they are articulating India's stance in a very fluent manner. If you hear them, Congress could have been proud of that. Congress could have taken the credit for that. Instead, it's become Operation Tharoor versus Operation Sindoor. I mean, that is not. It's become government versus opposition and opposition, Congress versus Congress. When your multi-party delegation is out in global capitals trying to mobilize opinion of the world community in favor of India's stand. And what needed to come out was a united voice. That is the effort, at least, of people outside. But back home, this is how it's all getting played out. And that's what Dr. Tharoor has also clarified. This was about clarifying Operation Sindoor and what India's stand is. It wasn't to go into Dr. Manmohan Singh's achievements vis-a-vis surgical strikes made by him. I don't remember it, but if there were, and they were not talked about very openly, somebody said, Dr. Tharoor could have come home and the party could have, sought an explanation for him. But to do it at this particular juncture, it actually weakens India's stand in global capital. So I don't know what the Congress, I agree with that. I really don't know what the Congress is about. Why they couldn't have waited for a few days to do all this, even if they had very serious reservations.
So Nikhil Jain, one would say, of course, senior Congress leaders indicating to NDTV that there will be no action whatsoever and that this is more of a view of an individual leader. But, it's why take to Twitter to, criticize a leader who's not in India at the moment. He's part of a multi-party delegation. He's representing India on a global platform. He's presenting the India story, and all of them are doing so proudly. And why make it about such political bickering?
Mario, the problem starts with the fact that when we have a delegation, an all-party delegation of members of parliament being sent abroad to represent the Indian government's view, they're obligated to say what the Indian government asks them to do, asks them to say. That is what they must do. That is what they are doing.
No.
But the
All
problem is
party
when they say,
delegations do not mean Indian government's view. It essentially shows that the political class of India is speaking in one voice, which is needed at this point.
Maria, I would like to disagree with that. It is supposed to represent the India view, but at the end of the day, it is the executive's view that would be propounded to the world. It is the foreign department's
legislature
view that
view
would be
because
propounded.
these are MPs and former MPs. So I think
But
that's a
foreign
wrong
policy-
interpretation of it.
I
Multi-party
think that-
delegations have travelled not only in this government, they have been doing so for the last several decades.
Maria, I think we should agree to disagree because I very strongly believe that any all-party delegation, no matter which party is in power, should represent the view of the foreign department of the country, which would be handled by the Indian government. That being said, on the topic of politics about all of this, so when Shashi Tharoor says a certain thing that is not not in sync with the Congress line, not in sync with what the Congress is saying in its domestic politics, it is the BJP that goes around and tries to make it political by saying, look, your MP is the one saying this, look, your MP is teaching you a lesson. It is but obvious that there would be leaders in the Congress party who would feel the need to come out and contradict Dr. Tharoor when he's saying something that is blatantly inaccurate. And it is not me who's saying that. It is a 2016 reply by the then Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar to a parliamentary panel that said that surgical strikes have happened in the past as well. Lieutenant General Hooda, who was the GOC Northern Command, this is about Jaishankar. Lieutenant General D.S. Hooda has also come out on record and said that surgical strikes happened before PM Modi as well. And let's not forget Operation Ginger 2011, when the Indian Armed Forces crossed over the LOC, beheaded 3 Pakistani army soldiers and jawans, and brought their heads and insignia back. So what Dr. Tharoor is saying today in Panama is incorrect. It's inaccurate. It, I feel, belittles what our forces have done, what the previous governments have done. And when an MP from the Congress is raising his voice, I think that's perfectly within his right to do that. I really don't understand why was the need for Dr. Tharoor to say that, because I'm sure for a man of his knowledge, intellect and skills, he would have known that cross-LOC strikes did happen during the UPA era and even before that. He was the Minister of State External Affairs during this period when Operation Ginger was carried out.
I think
so
it was
is the
not
BJP
about,
that started the game of politics.
I agree with Neerja Chaudhary when she says that it was not about comparison of what the present regime has done versus Mr. Modi's predecessors. It was about what has been done in the context of Operation Sindoor and the nature of it, very different from what India did in the past. Dr. Tuhin Sinha, please come in.
Well, on the one hand, the Congress representative is saying that, the delegation is representing the Indian view, then they should, support the Indian view. I don't think this is the time for this mudslinging and for, repeated, discussion on the technicality of surgical strikes. Shashi Tharoor himself has made it very clear that he was speaking of India's retaliatory action insofar as Pakistani acts of terror go. And we have seen, it's a fact, I don't need to explain. After 26/11, Congress did nothing. After July 2006 attacks, where train attacks took place in Mumbai, killing over 200 people, the Congress did nothing. So I think, we don't need to explain this. But my simple point is that the Congress frustration is about something else. In 1994, when Vajpayee ji had represented India at Geneva, the entire BJP was so proud of the fact that, an opposition leader was considered worthy of representing India. Why don't we see the same pride in this Congress party? Why instead are they so frustrated at the fact that one of their leaders, a senior leader, by the way, a 4-time MP, has been chosen to represent India? I think the Congress needs to answer these questions, because somewhere, it shows the degeneration of the Congress mindset. They are simply incapable of thinking or acting in national interest at this point of time. They need to grow beyond the Kheras and the Supriya Srinaths of the world, who are basically trolls and whose idea of political discourse does not extend beyond trolling.
Okay, will you respond to that, Nikhil, quickly?
Absolutely. What Tuhin is saying about 26/11, that the Indian government at that time did not do something, he is grossly wrong on that. We did send all party delegations to the to the world. We did start a cooperation with US and Israel on terrorism. We did initiate action to put Pakistan on the FATF grey list. We did initiate actions against David Headley and other perpetrators and have had them extradited. We did have the NIA question people. We did capture Kassab, put him on trial, and showed the world that it is Pakistan that sponsors the terrorism that happens in India against Indian citizens. So for him to come out and say that no action was taken is a gross misrepresentation of facts, and that is what the problem is. Tuhin is very well waxing eloquent about how we should not politicize it, but you look at the tone and tenor of words that he's using on this debate, that the leaders of today's Congress represent an urban Naxal mindset. What even is an urban Naxal? Because so far as I remember, 2 months ago, the Prime Minister was calling people who were asking for a caste census as urban Naxals, only to come out himself and say that caste census is what the country needs. This is a problem with the BJP, that you expect propriety out of the Congress and other opposition parties, but when it comes to you, you have nothing to show. Why did you need to make it so political when you were choosing Dr. Tharoor? Why could you not cede to the 4 names that were given by the Congress party? If you have to respect opposition parties while sending out an all-party delegation, you should not be running your stick. You should have respected their view, but you did not. Then you politicized it.
In all fairness, Dr. Shashi Tharoor is an exceptional speaker, the most articulate who's there in the opposition space, perhaps the best one who could articulate so effectively. So it was all right for him to represent a very important delegation and lead that delegation. So I'm not too sure why should it be decided by within the party, and So there has to be a respect for your own leader. He is a 4-term MP and a former minister that should be respected. Yes, Tuhin, quickly respond, and then I'll give the last word.
I have
to
a simple question.
Chaudhary.
Is there any specific reason why the Congress, disqualified Tharoor from that list of 4 names? I mean, has it got to do with the fact that at one point of time he wanted to contest the presidential elections in the Congress? Because other than that, being the head of the parliamentary group on external affairs minister, he anyway directly qualifies. He's a natural choice. And of course, the fact that, his experience in the IFS, the fact that he's a 4-term MP, probably one of the senior most members of parliament from Congress, automatically make him a right fit. But why was the Congress so hell-bent? Where does Gaurav Gogoi stand? Today he has confessed that he has spent, a good amount of time in Assam after ducking the issue, after a good amount of time in Pakistan after ducking the issue for months. So I think, the credibility of Gaurav Gogoi, their choice, and of Shashi Tharoor, there was a difference of heaven and earth between them. Why does the Congress not realize this?
Fine. Neerja Chaudhary, you get the last word and the last word tonight.
No, my short point is, if the Congress leaders felt, that Shashi Tharoor had failed to include the surgical strikes earlier on, somebody could have picked up the phone and said, hey, you forgot this. In your next press conference, included that, yes, during so-and-so's time, these surgical strikes were also made. It could have been included very simply. इस बार कांग्रेस छोटी politics खेल रही है.
Elaborate on this. Neerja, this choti politics that you have talked about, that's a lot of wisdom in it.
Grand old party of India. It could have ridden this.
Yes.
And you have your tall leaders out there. It does something for you as a party. It does something for India. All parties standing together and speaking in one voice. Ride it even if you feel some points were left out. All this could have been dealt with later.
Could the Congress have waited? Yes, they could have. Could a leader within the party have dialed Dr. Tharoor saying, as Neerja is suggesting in the next press conference, talk about what was done in the previous regime? Perhaps yes. Why make it about such kind of mudslinging, personal attacks, regret, issue an apology? That's taking it too far, Neerja?
Well, one feels disappointed. When the stakes are very high, I would have thought the government might even think, now that you have to rally together world capitals, you've had delegations go, you may need to do diplomacy behind the scenes also in the weeks to come. The government could have, constituted all-party, 2-3 groups to go to different world capitals and take this process forward. And the opposition members could have been part of it. Those who are articulate and understand issues. But if it's going to become so difficult to work together, it feels you're leaving, a bit sad about everything.
Neerja Chaudhary, really appreciate your time here on The Last Word. Tuhin Sinha, Nikhil Jain, thank you for joining us. That's all from me on this edition of The Last Word.